Hey there, guys. We just had the anniversary live stream for Global. And like usual, I'll be doing a quick recap video, although it might not be that quick because there was a lot of stuff in this stream. And this time, joining me to discuss it, I have DBarry and Pika with me. So y'all can say hello. DBarry, you can go first.
What's going on, everyone? It's kind of fun that I could do this because I was actually supposed to be in LA and that was just logistically impossible. So this might as well be the same thing.
And Pika?
Well, I'm glad to be on, and thanks for the invite, Sinzar.
Indeed. Also, just in case, like the sound quality is a little strange. For some reason, I cannot seem to get like the Discord to make the sound super clear on my end. I've tried for like 10 minutes and I just can't get it to work right today. I don't know why. But yeah, so if the sound sounds a little strange, that would be why. But live stream. So there was a bunch of stuff in the live stream. I've got a bunch of slides, and we're going to just go through them. So the first one is we're going to go just briefly over the rewards. So we're getting 70 free summons per week for until September 6th. So long time. I think they said it was like they said how many. Do you remember how many it was? Like, was it 700 summons? Was it 10 times or
Yeah,
something?
it says right there. That'd be about 10 weeks.
Oh, it does.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for 7 corals every week? I'm
Now,
so excited.
no, because it's never that for me. It's always Elena's, but never the ones that I'm gonna need now. Um, Bart's now has become a huge issue for me. Lena's been a huge issue for a long time. We'll see.
Oh, geez. And they're not even guaranteed either. There's no guaranteed. Although
No,
at 3% rate, 70 summons, you're likely to get on average, I guess, two of them per summon, maybe more, maybe less. But it's free stuff, so yay. More free stuff. They are updating or adding to the NeoVision's free summon you get when you're a new player. It's a very limited pool of basically terrible
it's
old
still
units.
it's still terrible.
They are. There's like I'm looking at this list. There's like no salvation in here. Like I guess Terra
So
can give a field. Cloud does get upgrades in the future if Global brings them over. But other than that, like these units for a brand new player, I mean it'll carry you for 90% of the game. So sure. But we're all getting these summons and three of them. So
I mean,
Oh
for a
no,
brand new
no.
player, that's a magic tank that was for a long time one of the best. It's a unit who has crowns, meaning Physalis. You have a tag chainer with Reyna. I mean, there's it could be worse.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
It has been worse for about 2 years now. So
Hmm.
it's
Exactly like you mentioned, they could have Corley in this pool,
oh
but he's
oh
not.
god.
They only added CG units, right? So
Oh, I just closed it, and I actually
Hmm.
can't get it back. But I think it is mostly, yeah.
Yeah, they were all CG.
And then another free reward is we're getting duration summons or whatever. So the longer you've played the game, the more of these tickets you're going to get. There's going to be a minimum of three of these tickets. So even if you just started, you're still getting three tickets. If you've been playing since day one, I think during the stream they said how many you're going to be getting. Did any of you all hear that?
I did not
I
hear that at all.
forgot.
I don't actually think
Well,
they gave us a breakdown.
Oh, okay. They might
yeah,
not have.
'cause, I remember what I got last time. I'm a day one player, so it's definitely not for everybody. Last time I got 15, if I remember correctly, or 17. I don't remember. It's something it's something like that.
Mm.
Nice. So more free summons.
So
free. Yeah, free stuff
yeah,
is always nice. Nothing,
it's
nothing
not
really
good
bad.
rates.
What was
It's just
that?
3%, but it's not that great of a rate. It's just 3%, the usual. So it's like you could get another 15 core leads, but yeah, it is there.
I'm more
Hmm.
excited to watch your very lagged out videos of these sins.
These won't be a problem because these are only 10 at a time, and those are fine. But it's going to be that 70 pull that I very well may just do off camera and just tell you guys what I got.
And then the crystals constantly breaking for rainbows instead
Oh
of
no.
going all the way for NVs. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that.
Those are so irritating.
Maybe if we're lucky, they'll all drop down blue and break accordingly.
Oh
Mhm.
my god! Oh
uh,
my god!
and one of the other anniversary things we're getting is the celebratory lapis replica 7th anniversary. So this is like these little yellow crystals. We saw during the live stream, you're going to get these from a daily quest that you can do every day to get these. And you get them from a few other sources, like we get some from the producers present, probably from the story event, all that kind of stuff. Basically, there's going to be various ways to get this during the anniversary. And you can trade it for summon tickets, random summon tickets, but more importantly, select tickets. And if you look over here, they're like demonstrating you can get the premium Zac, the premium Flaring Rain, maybe Ibarra and Deoxys. I mean, those are some pretty decent units that you can get apparently select and completely for free. So that's...
Hopefully they're meaning the select instead of those 10+1 tickets or 7-star sevens tickets thing that you could possibly get some of them, you know?
Oh,
hopefully they mean select.
That would be a horrible bait and switch to show this and then literally show the arrow pointing to them and be like, but not really. Oh, I hope not. I hope it's a select.
They said something along the lines of the pool would stop at Zac.
Okay.
I don't know if I heard that correctly, but I feel like it was going to stop at Zac.
So,
which is a shame, because that means nothing relevant is in it.
So just off the top of y'all's head, from Zac and earlier, if you were given, just one select ticket of any unit, including premiums, who would it be? So, Barry, who would you pick?
Zac, because I still need his card.
You would pick... for me as well, I would actually pick Zac because he's a premium. The only premiums I don't have is Zac and Deoxys from that time period, and I think Deoxys is not that great, so I would pick Zac as well, just for the card. How about you, Pika?
I think it really, because my Ibarra is still X2, and I'm one copy away from an X3 right now. So it depends on her upgrades, because if her upgrades are really good, I would probably pick that. I already have 2 copies of Zac, so that's the real crux of the issue here. If Ibarra upgrades are really good.
Mm-hmm. And then players summon vote. Now, usually I try not to push people into voting some way because I feel like people should vote whatever they feel like. So from these 3 options, I'm not going to say the one I'm leaning towards, but if either of you two feel like giving your input, what do you think is the valuable choice here? If you have a decision yet. So of these options, do either of you have one you like more than others?
I didn't really take a deep look into the 3 of these, so I can't really say.
Okay.
At a quick glance, it's basically like, do you want more summons, but also more things? Because in which case, it looked like they were all at, 7 or 8% Neo rate, yeah?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't really zoom in at the picture I took, so... yeah.
I think they were all at... I want to say 7 or 8% Neo.
I think the middle one was
7% right here. Yeah, 7% rate.
7. But it didn't have any guarantees. So, the first option gave you guarantees but less summons. The second option has higher chance of NVs but no guarantees. And the third option, I think, just gave you a lot more summons and other bonus stuff but no guarantees. And I think no rate ups or anything, from what I understand.
Okay. Now, I will say my experience with these little bonus tickets, when I do get them every now and then, they're not very good. You usually
they're
get
very bad, yeah.
Yeah, you get a trust mogul from them or something. They're not good.
Yeah. I will say, though, because they upgraded them somewhat recently, and 2, they do have the possibility of giving you Lapis, and it's certainly not a guarantee, but you could get Lapis from it, as well as the 1/10 NV tickets.
So it really happens from that. So it really depends on your luck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
But
We'll see.
That's the cool thing with voting. So every player can vote for the one you think is the best, and then you can complain on Reddit when the other option wins.
Promise.
And then we are getting some rerun premium banners, or I guess just banners in general, because we got Quistis in there. So they are rerunning the Nier Automata banners, and then they're also rerunning the Final Fantasy VIII summon banner. And 2B is getting upgraded, but not this week. Apparently, the next week she will be upgraded. But
Kasuri too.
Yeah, this is. I got to be honest here. I do not like the way they're doing this because, as you'll notice, the banner opens on the 1st. We're not going to know what her upgrades are until the 6th. So that's a little shady to me. I think they should give you full disclosure and let you know what you're pulling for before you pull. Because if her upgrades are great, outstanding. If they give her, like, you know, a 100 attack power passive or something you know, meaningless, that'd be pretty like they should just tell you what it is, and they very well may too. Also, and I'm saying this here, and the in-game news has a good chance to detail the upgrades. In which case, wonderful, outstanding. But I'm just saying, I hope they detail the upgrades by the time the banner opens. You know.
I gotta be honest. I feel like they're just gonna give her a leader skill and call it an update.
Yeah,
like they're
that's
gonna
what
give
I
her a
think too.
Clash of Wills leader skill, call it an update, and that's gonna be that. Because technically, it's an update, but her damage is still fine in Clash of Wills. And with this new Elena, we'll talk about in a second, her stats are gonna be fine. So.
So if they did give her a leader skill, I think they said they were on the news video, didn't they? Or the stream? So
Sure.
I do not remember.
Do you
There
think
was a lot of yeah.
do you think her leader skill would be for either light category, Clash of Wills category, or another world category, which is like the collaboration category?
Oh.
I
I'm gonna say
don't think
Clash
it's
of Wills.
I don't think it's gonna be light because A2 is not light, and if Clash and because if 2B wait no A2 is light, but like she's gonna be competing with the same spot as Squall and probably a lot of. I think it might be Clash of Wills personally too.
Yeah, that makes the most sense because it's what they could give her and make it not hurt their meta any more than they already have. Because then she'll still be worse than everybody relevant. You're not going to use her as a leader skill unless she's your only option. It'll probably be that standard 300% across the board Clash of Wills crap. Maybe 400 if they really want people to pull, but still tremendously inferior from anything else who's coming out. Running it alongside a Squall makes it light irrelevant. I don't know. This feels like a placate thing rather than an actual pragmatic meta thing.
Now here's a thought. Because of the 750% coming with Elena, I think they potentially even bump her leader skill to 500% just for the fact that she's a premium limited time unit. So maybe if they're nice, they could bump it up to 500% to Clash of Wills units, and it still won't affect the Elena meta that's coming with the 750%. So that's my thought. Maybe if they do update that to at all.
That'd be pretty good. Now, what are you guys' thoughts on the fact that 2B is being upgraded and A2 is being ignored? Like, she was just the worst one from the start. She needed buffs on day one, and now that they're giving buffs to the unit that was already good instead of the unit that was, you know, underwhelming on day one and just so far behind today. And they're reselling her. So, like, what are you guys' thoughts of them just, like, ignoring A2?
I couldn't be less surprised.
Yeah, I think they did that because they wanted to, like, if 2B's upgrades are actually really good, she's probably just there to dilute the pool. And if the upgrade is just the leader skill, it makes a little bit more sense, to be honest. If it's not, you're not touching their kit, and it's just the leader skill, and they just threw like a dart wall. Let's give a leader skill to one of A2 or 2B, and one of them gets it.
Not to mention, I mean, they're giving. They haven't said if they're giving us the real banner or just this step up. Now, this is the same step up that we had when they first came out with a guarantee 50-50 shot at the end. But if they make 2B decent and do nothing with A2, and you pull A2 on the first lap, it's now all of a sudden much more likely that you're going to take that second lap and bleed out further.
Yeah.
So, like, from a business perspective, yeah, it makes perfect sense. But I couldn't be less surprised that they've ignored A2. She was dead in the water immediately. They're not going to put the time in when they could focus on everything else that needs to happen.
It also, I think the other fact is A2's kit needs a lot more fixing than 2B's to be
so true. So true.
Oh, yes. Indeed.
A2's kit is just so much work to make work.
Well, we'll have more information on that on July 6th. And then we also are getting a free vision card. So they had a poster, or like not a poster, a portrait that was drawn by, I think, Amano, they said, at the fan event. Here it is, and this is also going to be the art of the vision card. It's the fundamental forces unit, including the new one we'll talk about in a minute. And this is a vision card you get, I think, just for logging in. And here it is. So Barry, during the stream, you messaged me and you're like, this is a good card. And then as soon as we talked about the card before the stream a minute ago with Pika, he's like, this card is garbage. So
hey, it's free. Stats for everything on it with no restrictions. It's got elemental resistances plus 50% on everything. I mean, yeah, now people who don't have power cut or anything decent can stop complaining about it. And the card is gorgeous. I like it. I'll never use it, but I like it.
Oh yeah, the art is cool. I hope they have a good soundtrack to the card and not just generic Brave Exvius track.
I hope they have a good sound, because that'd be the only redeeming portion of it for me personally. Although I'm probably never going to change out of the Genesis card anyway. But
I don't know if I'll trade out of Tidus's either.
Now I will say the 20 resistall is pretty nice. So that is kind of nice for newer players. That building a resistance tank can be a struggle for a newer player. So that is a nice perk.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are getting our Genshin Impact collaboration with Rick. I'm joking. It's if you get the joke, you'll understand it. But it's not really a collaboration. New Warrior of the Crystal, Richt. And we're getting Elena. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know why they didn't just make his name an L. Because, like, in Japanese, the L sound doesn't exist. They use R. And Licht in German, Licht, is just light. And he's obviously the crystal bearer of light. They go through and explain that he has light in his kit. Great. Yep. So they could have just made it an L. But no, they did not.
When I actually saw his name, I thought it was Richter, kind of like from Castlevania, Richter.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's not that either. But
nope, it's probably light.
Okay. And then Eternal Radiance, Elena. So we are
love
getting. Oh, you love it? Okay.
Love it.
Let's get rid of this, and then here we go again. Some more sprites. Apparently, he eats an apple, which is kind of interesting. They're both
He's got a stump.
His personality is eating an apple. Yeah.
And sitting on a stump. Love it.
Yep. That's A-tier personality.
And they are going to be here on Thursday. So for the units, this one I will say is premium. He is a premium light physical unit. He does have a CG animation. It was actually pretty good. I should have prepared it so I could show it in this video. I didn't. It takes too long for me to bring it up. You can see it on the live stream replay. But
the voice acting for this DG is actually decent.
Agreed.
Unlike Louise and the previous few where it was like super quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So he seems pretty good. I think on the stream they mentioned he has a 180% amplify. So we're just we're power creeping that. He's got breaks. He's got imperils. He's got Clash of Will stuff. I think he has AoE killers as well. They mentioned on the stream. Whole bunch of stuff going on. He has a premium unit and he's the anniversary unit, so they're trying to make him good. Although last year we had Wilk, and we know how Wilk went. We were so hyped about him, and then we all realized he's just straight terrible. And he has been one of the biggest trolls of Global. So
it was so bad after
immediately. Wilk came out, and then Chizuru just crept him into the ground a week later.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll pretend that he didn't come out at the same time as Sylvie anyway. So, what does this actually mean? It means Elena is an incredible unit, and this guy's probably good for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I have a very strong inkling that this guy's just a pure DPS who does nothing but damage, and he just disappears after the big burst.
Oh god, I hope not, because I really like the design of the unit. He looks really cool.
Kit's versatile too, based on triple absolute mirror of equity limit burst in his base and triple bolting strike limit burst in his shift. I mean, that's great in theory.
Yeah, these sprites, I think they look really cool, especially his Brave Shift sprite.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he does damage mitigation against demons and humans, triple absolute mirror in the base form, triple bolting in the shift form. So he's flexible and chaining. Those are the two most commons. Killers.
I just really hope that his killers are not Magnus. Like a lot of the previous units where they just do that killer buff once and then they disappear.
Oh jeez.
I hope they're AoE too.
Yeah,
like,
I
they
hope
can
it's
be
AoE,
higher for himself and AoE everyone else, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of selfish units, which we have so many of at this point.
Mm-hmm. And then his LB, they actually gave us some numbers on the LB, which is really nice. We can use this to do some ballpark calculations later. Pretty cool. I think they only gave her for the base form though, not the shift. And then here's just some more skill. I'm not going to go over every single skill. He has a bunch of skills. You can see all this, etc. Removes negative status effects. Go ahead.
And he has the same thing. Oh, I'm sure it's coming up. He has the same thing as 2B and A2, where they synergize if they're both in the same party, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Him, Elena, and Ibarra as well. They mentioned are going to have all these synergy buffs, where if they're in the same party, they buff each other, which is kind of awesome. Stuff there, and then more stuff EX2. But here is the leader skill that we mentioned. So as mentioned, his is 300%. In the entire game, and then in Clash of Wills exclusively, it's 500% for Clash category units. So this is a thing that the JP server has started doing with regular units. Like, for example, the recent lock in JP is 750 to one category, and at the same time, 500 to another category. Global's taken it a step further, I guess, and separating it from in-Clash leader skill and out-of-Clash leader skill. How do you guys feel about this?
So it doesn't specifically say in Clash. It says in morale battles.
Oh,
so what that reads to me is that there's the potential, and we're going to cross our fingers and see, that they may decide to add more content later that certainly isn't Chamber of Vengeance, because we've ignored that. But there might be that uses the morale system. Because otherwise they would just say in Clash of Wills versus out, unless they really think someone's going to bring this to Morgana.
Well, they probably will. Morgana, like I've said in videos before, that is probably the most requested. Rerun Morgana. I get that all the time. I've made 20 Morgana teams, but all the time people are like, show me another Morgana team. So people do still want to see Chamber of Vengeance.
I mean, the Morgana fight is objectively a super fun fight, personally, I think. But
objectively, yes. I
think, regardless of whether there's more content or not for morale battles, I think for a premium unit, this is unacceptable. This is just unacceptable. We've had premium leader skills we had no premium leader skills that were under 500%, except Laswell, because we don't talk about him. But all of them had 500% for at least one category outside of any specific type of battle. This is, I think, really, really unfortunate that they did this. Not to mention the fact that they're releasing a non-premium unit that's just better at doing what he is for this leader skill.
Mm-hmm. Yep, people made that little teaser that Elena's leader skill is even better. So yep, I think that's it for... Oh, nope, of course, we've got his STMR weapon.
Got his two-handed weapon.
The weapon STMR. We just keep him coming.
And his TMR. His TMR seems nice. It's got killers for 3 races, and that's actually universal, so that's actually a really good TMR.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
It's just like...
No one's gonna use his sword, I think. Except himself.
I don't know,
man. He actually has fairy killers, so maybe. Yeah, he has a couple of fairy killers, I guess.
Well, and Demon Human is a very common double type, so I mean, you can bang out 150% killers on a weapon with variants, assuming it's not a true dual wield unit. And I mean, it could be a worse weapon because you can use it for other things. It's just, of course, it's another two-handed weapon.
Yeah, I'm just so tired of these two-handed weapons.
Or any STMR weapon.
I guess it's an upgrade over Fervia's STMR, but that's that.
Yep.
And dies. Yeah.
And then his vision card, only at EX3 because he is premium. It's basically the best vision card in the game at this point. 170 to both. The same magic attack and LB damage that all the other the recent premium cards have. It's got
Yeah.
650 flat stats instead of 500, and it's for Clash of Wills categories. So any clash unit. This card's
Which is
amazing.
a much better category than like those elemental ones.
Mm-hmm. And you can't see it here because it's a screenshot, but I will say the animation on it was really cool. It shows him fighting the bad guy from his story event that we're going to get to in a minute.
Vestige of Ethne or something? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was the name, I believe.
I mean, it's a stunning looking card. Animation on it's fantastic too.
All right, so the real question is, Barry, are you going for 2 of these or 3 of these?
Man, look, okay. I only have, after everything that they're going to give us, like 140k. There's no way. One has got to be what I settle for, unless Elena is on. If Elena's on a separate banner, I got to prioritize her and then see what's left to pull a premium. Because premiums have not been kind to me lately.
Ooh.
If we did understand it correctly, though, they're gonna give us 36k Lapis, probably over a year.
Yeah, next 10 weeks, I think.
Yeah, which is enough to pull a non-premium banner generally these days. From what I understand, it's 36k to like 42k generally, right?
Yeah, 44, I think.
44.
Mm-hmm.
If you have enough to pull for a premium before that, then you could potentially pull for both.
Mm-hmm. Hope we have some good luck. And then Elena, Eternal Radiance Elena. She has a field. It's pretty low quality field, but I guess it's better than nothing. 100 stats. Clash of Wills stuff, etc. It's kind of interesting that they said that she is a spirit damage dealer, and she can magical tank. And then in the shift form, she seems to be just a pure damage dealer, still using spirit though. So, what are you guys' predictions? Is she going to be a really good damage dealer and an underwhelming tank, a really good tank and a terrible damage dealer? Is she going to be amazing at both, or is she going to be bad at both? Just what are your thoughts on Elena?
Okay.
My initial thoughts that came up when I saw that she was a magic tank was like, if she doesn't have the mitigations that Abigail has, then she's just a worse magic tank than a unit that came out a couple months ago. So I'm leaning towards the fort where she's an okay-ish magic tank, but a better-ish SPR damage dealer. And I don't know about SPR damage, how good they're gonna do the SPR damage this time, because every time a spirit damage dealer comes out, it's like a very big hit and miss. Often miss recently. The only last one that they really did well was that Chinese New Year unit long time ago, and after that it's been really bad always. So who knows?
I don't know. So they didn't mention her having the 8 times cap. They didn't really specify if she. I think she's a dual wield spirit unit. So we don't know if she has the 8 times cap. We don't know what they're gonna do. We know that they do tend to love spirit-based damage dealers. And at least historically, prior to the Twin Monk banner, between them and Leela, spirit-based damage dealers were incredible.
And then...
It's been a while, and let's be honest that their last iteration of Elena was incredibly underwhelming until she got an intrinsic, 2 years later. So I think because Elena is a fan vote winner, I have a pretty decent inclination that her damage is going to be perfectly adequate to justify using her as a leader priority. She's not going to break meta because she isn't premium and they wouldn't be able to sell her that way, but they have to at least put enough kit behind her to justify what her leader skill does. So I think she'll probably be slightly better than Chao as a magic tank, and her damage will probably be relevant, 3-4 months ago. So I'll call her mid in both ways.
So probably a better damage dealer than Chao, a worse tank than Abigail, but way more, I guess, way better leader skill than any of them. So,
but important.
But important, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It just sucked that though, because Abigail came out recently. She was a really, really solid tank for everything, but this leader skill unit with 750%, you can't ignore that, so you have to basically bring Elena if it's a magic tank fight.
That's
But you don't have to use her as one, right?
No, you don't.
That's true.
The shift form is pure DPS. So unless the shift form is trance, which they didn't say what kind of a shift it was.
Mm-hmm.
And if the damage is really good for her, then she can just come in as a damage unit, I guess.
Yeah. What I'm kind of hoping is that it's more like Esther, to where the tanking is like something she's decent at. She can be used as a tank, but she's not like a dedicated tank. You know what I mean? That's what I'm kind of hoping. And then on the other hand, I do hope that her DPS form, just like Esther, at the time, was a very solid damage dealer. So that's what I'm hoping for her.
Agreed. I mean, I love the sprite, if nothing else.
It is really cool. And then big wall of text. We're not going to go over this. They give some information on the LB. A lot of modifier boosts, a lot of killers, extreme Nova chain. That's probably the important thing you care about. So there you go.
It's only their tanking form, though, right? This is not her big damage.
The base form.
So
yeah. So they actually did not give the details on the shift form, I don't think. And then Judgment of Beetlejuice, the way they pronounced it on the stream. Again, it's just bolting strike chains. All that we're really going to go over. Bunch of numbers. It'll deal damage. We'll see more about that on Thursday when we get the data mine. And again, a lot more abilities. We're not gonna go over all of them, but she does stuff. But here's the leader skill. So 300 to clash outside of morale content. In morale content, 750 to everything. So this obviously is now the go-to standard. And the attack and magic is fine because we've already got 750s. We're going to be getting a bunch more in the future. We're getting, rebels, gatherings, espers, etc. We're getting a bunch of 750 leader skills. So this just brings clash units on par. The other thing, which not many people were talking about in the stream, I'm not sure if no one really thought about this, but defense and spirit by 750, that has some severe implications.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I was like, if they balance the damage that the bosses deal based on the assumption that everyone has Elena,
exactly,
that's going to be really, really rough for people who don't.
Big rip to every tank.
Exactly.
Yes.
And actually, I'm not even that worried about the tanks, because, yes, the tanks will absolutely be bulkier if they're using Elena's leader skill. I was thinking more along the lines of the stuff that bypasses cover. So if you remember some of the older clashes, like we used to hate Sky because if a magic attack got through your tank and hit Sky, she would just barely survive. Now imagine that the boss's cover ignoring damage is now going to be tuned around your DPS units having a 750 spirit or defense leader skill. Okay, so that's the thing here. So it's like lose-lose scenario. You balance it around that, and people that have it, it's great. It's a hard challenge. If you don't have it, just go home. And then if they don't balance it around that, then people that don't have it, it's fine. It's a good challenge. If you do have it, it's a joke and it's no fun because it's boring. It's just no challenge. So this is like a huge jump from 200, which was the previous max. Or 300, I guess.
300, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is not a good jump to be made, personally, because I struggle with X levels already. This is gonna be a nightmare if I don't manage to get Elena.
At least they kind of prepped for it, because they even made mention changes to Clash of Wills are coming, but it's going to be a gradual rollout, and we'll give you details in game as it comes. So I mean, this to me means that this is what month is this? This is June. So this is our hardest Clash of Wills anyway, because next month has to be our lovely cupcake. This basically could be a trial run for how they want to roll out changes to Clash of Wills in what would be already considered the quote-unquote hardest Clash of the quarter. So this one could be rough.
So because
hopefully, go ahead.
So because Elena is not premium and she is getting the good leader skill, do you think they're going to be setting this as the standard going forward? Because we had Dwayne, Nora, And then Rick are having the basic 300s, although Rick has 500 in clash because he's premium, I guess. But do you think starting in July, the July clash unit will also be 750 in clash, and then so will the August, so will the September, etc.?
No, I don't think they'll do it for July yet. Strictly because they're going to want to justify people having Elena, and they're probably going to force you into it. Now, come August, absolutely. No holds barred, gloves off. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw an 800 at that point just to say, haha, remember that time you spent on Elena? Well, here's 800. Just because why not? So, yeah, I think they'll give us a one event grace before it becomes completely out of control.
They'll be like, joke's on you. You thought Elena was future-proof? Nah.
We'll be at 1,000% by December.
Who do you think you're dealing with here?
Malphasey, 1,000% in December. It's coming.
It'll be interesting. And then some more stuff on Elena, the two-handed weapon. I find it amusing. Of course, people made the joke instantly in chat when they saw this. Astria End of Service is her weapon.
Oh.
Why would they name it that? Like, they know people joke about this all the time with that Final Fantasy 15 game, the mobile game. And they named it this, so it's just so strange. So strange they would do that.
It's a good thing they told us this wasn't stackable, because that would make it worth having multiples.
Yes.
No. Yeah, it's not. Well, actually, the spirit is on her, so the flat stats for her are stackable. And then
it's just the dual wield part that's not, which just makes it a little rough, I guess.
Spirit True Dual Wield is super clunky anyway. But then again, they still didn't say she has an 8-time modifier, so.
I would assume like she has to, right?
Better.
I mean,
better.
Dwayne and Nora both had it, so we have to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. But they didn't say it, so it is possible they think like, oh, she can tank too. We got to nerf her in some way. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Never underestimate their power.
And now Elena has 2 cards. This is kind of strange.
I love it.
At EX1, this will be her card, Battle with Ithne. If I'm saying that right. It's a 130 spirit, and then some resistances, etc. Just some stuff. It's basically a spirit card for herself. Now this, I'm a little disappointed in this. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this card for a minute. We'll talk about it. So what are you guys' thoughts on this card? I mean, fine, but nothing special?
It's fine, but I just found it a little disappointing because she's supposed to be a tank and what do you call it? A damage dealer, but this kind of just seems like it's putting its feet in both pools without actually going hard on either, and it just makes it a little, I don't know, underwhelming for both of her.
I think it could be a really good card if it had raw defense and HP and some flat defense and HP as well. Now I know that's asking a lot, but like, give it 110 defense and 1,000 or 1,500 HP, and now we're talking about this card very differently.
Yeah.
Because then it at least can appeal to her tanking side. Now then again, some of the bulk that we have in these tanks is so high that as long as you can build elemental resist and you can build a ribbon and perhaps an anti-death, the rest of it's just kind of fluff because the fixed attack has been whatever. So maybe her 750% leader skill is how they're justifying this.
Mm-hmm. And then, this is kind of strange. At EX3, she gives a different vision card. Now, this one is obviously not for her because, she does nothing with attack and mag. This is for your other units. That being said, this is a great card. Not the best card in the game, but it is still pretty good. 170 attack and magic. True dual wield and true double hand for both. 50% chain cap or 0.5 chain cap up. That is just why. It's just
slap in the face.
If it was 100%, then they couldn't justify giving Ibarra a buff because they would just completely negate the relevance of Ibarra's card.
I guess. And then the flat stats are only 300 because it is. Now,
Right.
this one is, just like Ibarra's, there are no unit restrictions. This can go on any buy. So this is a real nice card for a non-premium unit. Keep that in mind. So she's not going to be that hard to get to EX3, well, relatively speaking. Yeah.
I think just for the card, it makes it the priority. If since they're both coming out at the same time, Elena and Rich, I think Elena is 100% the one that you should be chasing first.
Now, here's what I was mentioning about this card, my disappointment. Because Elena is a spirit scaling damage dealer, there does not exist in the game a 170 base spirit card.
No.
So why didn't they put that on this for EX3 for her? So this is going to be her best spirit card, is just 130. There might be a 135 from a global banner or something, but there's no 170. So why didn't they add a 170 base to this card to give an option for that, you know?
Because they're waiting for premium Neovision's Myra. The fans voted. They want it. It's there.
Oh, jeez.
I think Elena's card is just so like 90% there, but it's just not. The rest of the 10% just makes it sad because like if they gave some HP and defense, you'd be able to slap it on the tank when she's tanking stuff. But if there's only 130, it's a bit of a disappointment, just to say the least.
Yep.
I mean, like,
Yes.
it's fine. I think that's what can be said. It's a fine card. It'll get the job done.
We can say that this is an okay card because it's gonna be best in slot for it, right? We have a lot of units that come out with their own vision card being just so bad you're never gonna touch it. But at least this one you can use for Elena, and it's gonna be her best in slot.
And I will say too, for the EX3 card, the art seems really cool. I really like it. I think it's a really well drawn picture of flaring rain.
Agreed. Honestly, it'll be a perfectly adequate card for Richt if you don't EX3 him.
Yep. And then Ibarra is getting upgrades, and they actually show us the exact numbers on the upgrade as well. It's kind of cool. Only at EX2, but hopefully people have her EX2 at this point. So boost damage of LBs when Elena is in the party and not dead, and it gives the numbers here. I'll play with calculation for that later on, but free damage is just nice. Yay, sure.
So what she does anyway.
So I can do this in my head. So 0.5 for that's 20. So that is a 11 times modifier boost. That's actually not that high for an LB.
Ugh.
That's pretty low.
That's actually really low.
And only if Elena is in your party.
Wow.
I don't remember if Ibarra's LBs were split into. It's like, was it ignore defense thing? No, right?
Nope.
Ignore SPR thing? Nope. Okay.
It's just one time. So
11.
I mean, it's free.
better than
I
nothing.
guess. Yeah, it's free.
Better than nothing.
Oh well. It's
Free
nice.
if you have Elena.
So this is not really news right here. I just had to point this out because it was kind of funny. So during the stream, like for the newer players in the audience, they were kind of just explaining the way leader skills work. You know, veterans already know this is old information, but I just found this sort of hilarious. So this was their example they gave to new players of a cohesive leader skill party. They wanted you to use Ace as your leader, with Ingus and Deuce in the party, and Wilk as your breaker. Do they just not know what these units do?
Oh my god.
All three of these are mages, and they want you to bring a 90 breaker to make a cohesive, synergistic party. Like, come on. Come on.
Hey, Wilk's there to break defense for his own damage. Come on, Sinzar. Get with the game.
And I just have to make this joke as well. You know who would have been the perfect slot in for that breaker slot for this Blessing of the Crystals party?
Was it Cater? Was it Cater?
The 90 Spirit Breaker Cater that was supposed to be here last week.
No, you're asking too much. That's impossible.
Oh, it's kind of funny.
Different game. Geo's a different game, Sinzar.
Oh, jeez. Apparently.
Haven't you got the memo?
And then also this week we are getting a story event, kind of similar to the one we had. I guess the past 2 years we had was Louise and Ling. No, it was Louise. Yeah, it was Louise and Ling.
Yep.
The first year of Clash, and then we had Wilk and Sylvie had their story event. Now we're getting Rick and Elena story event. So pretty cool. You can get the background for these units. And it's always nice when the units that have no connection to an existing game, like a Final Fantasy game, when they give us some kind of lore so we can know who they are. So this is real nice.
Do you remember if last year when Sylvia and Wilk came and Esther got our upgrades, if we redid Esther's event along with their banner?
No,
or not?
no,
Okay.
just the banner.
Oh, are you asking because you missed the Extreme Nova materia from one of the events?
No, I was just I think I got it. I was just wondering if people who didn't get it.
Okay.
But yeah.
So now I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna cross my fingers, and we're gonna get on my soapbox about lore, and maybe, just maybe, we'll finally get some information about precursors one day.
I would say probably not, because they kind of made it like a big deal in the stream that these are fundamental forces units. So
It's true.
Like the precursor stuff is a different storyline from the fundamental forces. So probably
I'm not saying in this story. I just mean in the future.
Oh, so
because if they're finally, because the whole point of this story they're saying is to finally get all of the fundamental forces units together. So we're gonna get some, Power Rangers combined situation coming up, but. The precursors,
Avengers.
But the precursors now. We're not gonna forget and pretend that they haven't made new versions of almost all of them that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if they could just give us something, you even threw the precursor of lightning in with fundamental forces units just for funsies. So, just maybe we'll finally learn something about them.
Would be nice.
Just not now.
And then right here, just some story event you're going to be getting from the story event. It does give auto mitigation to humans and reapers, and these are always my favorite types of event gear. Is like these really niche stuff that absolutely has value in some scenarios. Mm-hmm. So that's really nice. This is more of a new player item, but for newer players, it might be useful. That's fine.
Until they can UOC a ton of Kanjira.
And then we're also getting a challenge event. So any predictions? Is this going to be a turn 1 kill, or is this going to be a real trial?
Nope.
Turn one. It doesn't have any unit restrictions either, so it's 100% turn 1, I feel.
Oh,
yep.
Well,
blow it back.
There we go. And then Clash of Wills. So Ithne is going to be the Clash of Wills boss, human, demon, fairy.
Are they just sticking with 3 types now for Clash? I wonder.
I would almost bet absolutely yes. Going forward,
Okay.
They're probably going to be triple races from now on because it's harder to build, which means you got to pull more.
Mm-hmm.
Red Genesis for races that he doesn't have.
Oh, it's actually not weak to fire anyway.
Yeah, I mean this time it's not, but in the future.
Oh, in the future, yep.
Yeah.
So light, ice, dark. So they want you to bring Rick, Elena, and Ibarra, the upgraded units.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And 2B.
Mm-hmm. A2, etc. Squall, potentially.
Yeah. Probably not.
So here is some brief overview of the stuff. We'll go over this more when the actual Clash news comes out on Tuesday, but the boss uses Ice, Wind, and Light, non-elemental, etc. The boss activates an area effect on her side, so that may or may not be important to remove. It only boosts elemental damage, and unless the imperils she uses are so dramatic that your tank cannot resist them or immune the damage, it would just be irrelevant to leave it up there. So, I don't know.
So we'll talk about that, because it does say right there that it decreases ice resistance by 300%. And of course, Elena just so happens to have a skill that increases ice resistance by 300%. So clearly, 300% is a big thing, but if that's going to set a standard of needing a 300% elemental resistance buffer on your team, or if you have to gear for over 300%, that's an absolute logistical nightmare. unless we start getting like cohesive leader skills that will one can do a stat buff and one can do elemental resistance buff, because that's absolutely absurd.
That would actually be a really cool thing for them to do with leader skills. Instead of leader skills just being an attack and magic, they could be like resistances. Like, Elena gives your party 500 ice resist while she's the leader. Just passively, That'd be really cool.
This reeks of Elena is 1000% just from looking at the sneak peek a better unit than Nora, but this reeks of that 200% accuracy buff from the last cow.
Sure does.
Because don't forget now, the field that they previewed for Elena was an ally side field, so it will not remove the boss's field. So you still need Nora or someone like that, like Nicole, whatever, to get rid of the boss's field, Esther, stuff like that. If the boss's field is important, and actually, if the boss is bypassing cover with some of these attacks and they're hitting the party, then you very well may have to deal with this, because the party is not going to gear for full elemental immunity. You just really can't do that on the whole party, because you lose too much damage. But for example, let's just say the boss deals 10,000 damage with an attack that bypasses cover at the resistance you're going to be, and then the field is a 500% amplify field. I mean, it's a bad guy field, so they can do whatever they want. They can make it 500%, 10,000%, whatever. Yeah. You just have to remove,
I'm getting elemental Tetris PTSD. Oh no.
Oh god.
Oh my goodness.
And this is the final boss of the season. So and the anniversary boss also. Remember last year, Thanator? He was pretty hard.
Yeah, unless you had Sylvian build. That one time.
So this could
that one time Wilk was important.
So that could certainly be a challenge. And then the Clash of Wills gear is getting upgraded. They previewed a few of them: the rulers, the ninjas, the conductors. I mean, we're all going rulers, so here it is.
Yep.
Of course.
It's upgrading to 1,000 morale only at the start of the battle. This is just one-time boost, 500 flat, and then just base stats up. So very nice upgrade. Make sure you have your Xenostone ready for that. And then
Garuda.
We are getting Garuda. We are also getting the Garuda Tower. Do you guys remember? Did I actually record my JP Tower clear? I don't think I did.
I don't think so.
I don't remember seeing it.
No, I think I was recording it, and then after the video was over an hour long, I'm like, I'm not uploading this. And yeah, so this is going to be fun. So, okay, actually, it depends. So the reason it's so terrible is in JP, the entire tower, it's an exploration, a very long exploration, kind of like Bahamut Island, with puzzles, tons of encounters, bunch of mini bosses. They're relatively challenging. The reason it's hard is locked to Season 4 units only.
Oh
my god.
And that is a very small list, like Tyvis, Cal, Leftia, Tulian, what's the other one's name? Yish. Like it's like 9 units, and that's the entire pool.
I skipped all of them.
Oh lord.
Except Tyvis.
Runda supremacy.
Runda. And now the funny thing is, on the second floor of the tower, there's a permanent, unremovable, it's a field in the middle of the battlefield that you cannot remove by replacing it, of plus 200% evasion. Which
oh my god.
Yes, basically means you can't use physical units. So there goes Tyvis.
Oh no, the one good unit.
The one good DPS unit. I cleared it in JP with Yish chaining Blazega. Not even kidding you.
Oh.
And that's why my video was like that's why I cleared like 2.5 hours for me to do it.
Oh my god.
It was so terrible. It was so terrible. Thankfully, on global, I've got Cal. So Cal is the number one here. He is the absolute best here because his LB is fixed type. It ignores evasion. It does not a ton of, relatively, it does good enough damage to clear this very easily. If you have Cal, you are fine. If you're not, it's going to be annoying. I'll just say that much.
That doesn't sound fun anyway. See, if this is what they do to try to make content harder, then they're missing the point of what harder means. Content isn't hard if you're required to use specific things. Content is hard if you have to actually think about it and figure out how to piece a team together. But if you lock the content to, you can use these 6 units that are a year and a half old and most of them blow, that's not hard content. That's just, hey, here's all these things you can use, but we're going to cut you off at both Achilles tendons and watch you walk upstairs.
Yeah, it was like it. Yeah, the tower I wouldn't say was hard. It really wasn't that hard. I mean, you're clearing it with like Yes, Chain and Blazega. It's not a hard content. It was just very, very tedious for me in JP. And I will say in JP, in the tower, in all the treasure chests, you got things like crowns for Nelica, crowns for Van Harma, crowns for Roka, a bunch of Season 4 upgrades. They didn't mention any of that on the stream. So do you think they're just cutting all these upgrades, or they just didn't mention it because they just had too much to talk about?
Oh, God. We're going to hope for one, but expect the other.
We'll see. And then the Esper fight itself, Garuda. Thankfully, Garuda is a standalone fight. So once you do all the tower, you go back to the map, it unlocks the battle, then you fight Garuda directly, kind of like Ashura. You don't got to do the exploration every attempt. It has 2 options. You can either do the cheese method, which is where you make Garuda basically kill himself. For this one, it's not like the other 2 where you can just jump someone and it's over. You have to like play Simon Says. Garuda will say like, hit me with lightning, hit me with wind, hit me with fire. I forget the exact things, but you do what he says for like 4 rounds, and then he says, okay, you win, I surrender. Or you can do the hard mode where you kill him for real and you get a medal, kind of like Ashura 3-star, Bam at 3-star. I actually didn't do it in JP, the hard mode, so I'm looking forward to trying that on global. You know, it'll be something to do.
Yeah.
It's content.
Mm-hmm. And Garuda as an Esper, she's fine. I think she's locked to 1-star, so just like Bayman at 1-star or Ashura at 1-star, not great. Once we get them, more versions, I'm sure she'll be really, really good. But at 1-star, she has a few killers, so you'll certainly see some use. But I think as far as stats go, she's not as high as others. I think. I don't know. We'll see when that comes out on Thursday. And then some bad news during the stream. So they are ending support for Thai and Indonesian language. Like, they're just taking it away on, I think it was September 28th. So it's a few months away. But on September 28th, after the maintenance that day, they are literally taking it out of the game. It just won't even work anymore. So do either of you, like, are either of you in these language time zones or whatever?
No.
It's kind of strange that they would just, cut support for a language. They said the reason was that they needed more resources to do other stuff, and they're going to get more content because of this. But I don't know.
That remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me personally, it doesn't really affect me. I speak English, not these languages, but I just can't imagine playing the game for 6 years and all of a sudden the game was like, we're just cutting you off because too bad. Like, I don't know. It seems kind of
sus.
Yeah, for real.
Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
But
we could speculate on that for a while. I'm sure.
And it's not a good sign that they're just cutting these languages out.
Mm-hmm.
They probably gauged the audience size of Thai and Indonesia and said this is not audience size worth working for. That's probably what they were for the amount of work that they were doing. So I'm guessing that's why they're ending support for it. But it's not a good sign.
Mm-hmm. But that is happening September 28th. And then, as mentioned earlier, some Clash of Wills updates. So they mentioned a few things. One of the things they mentioned was they're going to start doing even more JP unit upgrades, to where they kind of like they did for what was named Rain and Cloud, and who else got morale? I think it's just those two, right? Got morale.
It's just those two, yeah.
Yep. Well, they're going to be doing more in the future, so that's.
And Cloud got it with a double quotation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also they mentioned they're going to be changing Clash of Wills itself, as well as right here, new rewards. So look for more information soon. I would assume they're going to have some of this information on Tuesday, in 2 days when we get because we're getting Clash of Wills next week.
This is a pipe dream of mine, but I really hope that they lower the X level requirement to 15. That allows at least somebody who wants to take a 7-star or an X0 unit into the fight. That's just a pipe dream of mine, but I really hope that's one of the updates.
I would certainly love that. Absolutely, more team flexibility. I kind of doubt it's going to happen just because that's like their moneymaker. But I certainly hope so. I definitely hope so.
15 would be so great.
See, I took this as a complete opposite direction, and I read that as these major updates are probably going to be how to make this harder, make it worse, and make people spend more. New rewards is cool, I guess.
That's probably right.
Because they said that it's going to be a gradual change that they roll out over time, and to watch the in-game news, that leads me to believe that they're going to do a good and a bad at the same time and see how people respond to it, and then progressively build on it from there.
Now, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I kind of sort of hope they do make Clash of Wills harder. And when I say that, I don't mean like bulkier. Harder and bulkier are not the same thing. So as it is, it's pretty hard to rank 1 in Clash of Wills just because you need to hit a certain threshold of damage. And if you've got the meta units, it's fine. You're going to deal 4.5 billion when you needed 2. That's no big deal. If you don't have the meta units, it's very, very hard. So people, I don't want people to think I want them to make it harder for them to damage cap. When I say I want Clash of Wills to go back to being hard again, I'm talking AI of the fights. The AI of the fights, in my opinion, has just been getting slowly and slowly so much more simplistic and basic. I want the days of like Kairos or Morturum or was the Dream Wrath, whatever. Do you remember Kairos? How many skills he had? He had all the AoE stuff. He had AoE fixed. He had mana drains. He had dispels. He had self dispels. He had AoE berserk. Like Kairos was one of the best Clash of Wills we've ever had. And then Morturum, the castle boss, is one of my second favorite bosses we've ever had. He was so involved, and like even the wiki. Reading the wiki, you still could barely understand what he was doing turn by turn because he had so much going on. I want to go back to Clash of Wills like that. Not what we're currently having, which is, okay, on turn 2, you do a double Mirage. On turn 4, you do the 400 Ice Resist buff. Other than that, evade your tank and you're taking 0 damage. That's what Clash of Wills is these days, See,
but the other end of that could get very tricky. Yes, I agree, add more skills, but they cannot be RNG skills. Because if they just add in something so ridiculous... See, because it doesn't make it... It's not a good, I guess, structured content if you can do everything right, and then on all of a sudden you just roll a natural 1 on turn 4 and he AoE wipes your party, and there was nothing you could do about it and you have to start over.
Okay, let me actually clarify. Okay, so when I say I do want RNG, I don't mean chromatic wave RNG.
That'll work.
I don't mean I want you to do between 1, 2, 6, or 12 attacks per turn. Mm-hmm. The RNG I mean is in the skills themselves. I want you to choose to do either like 2 chromatic waves, or I want you to do throat jab, or I want you to do necrotic strike, whatever. That way, it would literally make making a turn chart impossible because you would have to react turn by turn instead of planning. Oh, I like on turn 7, I know exactly what the boss is going to do because there's 0 variance. There's no RNG. Sure. I want there to be randomness turn by turn depending on what the boss does, like Shin Ryu. Shin Ryu is my favorite example when I have this discussion because Shin Ryu has completely random skills per turn, and I loved it because it made you react and it tested your skill as a player to know how to react to what is going on in the fight. You're not just following blindly a turn chart or something, and I enjoy that a lot.
That I agree.
So
I'm honestly surprised you guys remember so much of Shinryu because it was a blur. The only thing that I remember from Shinryu was that I hated the fact that he had that turn 1 preemptive attack, and I did not have Phasey, so it was a nightmare to deal with.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's all I remember from that fight.
I mean, it was hard early on unless you could build 300% preemptive water resistance, but yeah.
Yep. And then our absolute favorite part of every single live stream, the Q&As.
Yes, the actual helpful Q&As.
They did not disappoint. They kept the tradition going. So here we go.
Did.
Question 1. Will it be possible to replay quest and award specific Master Crowns? This question seems very familiar, kind of like they answered the literal exact same question last month. But
I wonder.
apparently, yes, we are going to get it. They didn't change their mind in the last month, although they did give us a date, late July. So why is this coming so late? This is so late at this point. We now have another entire month to wait for people to get their upgrades.
If it's late July and Gumi time, it means in December.
Late July also means you can't use anybody that you might have missed in any content coming up to might make it easier or make them viable.
Crazy.
It means that you'll get them past the point where you ever could have used them.
And then the second question, will leader skills continue to receive updates such as the one given to Premium Squall? And the answer is one of those maybes. We'll continue to update units, look for them on a case-by-case basis. So basically a non-answer.
A solid maybe. Guys, we got him.
Oh, jeez, these questions. And then the last one, like this one, oh, come on. So, using the Chamber of Super Sight consumes a lot of energy. Will you start giving the players more energy restores? Like these are the burning questions on players' minds right now.
I saw this question, I was like straight up laughing.
And the answer is, we're considering, like, not even a yes. We're considering the deep and extreme value of energy pots, and we have to discuss this with the president to see if we can give out more energy pots. Like, give me a break. What is going on?
The worst part of it is I know more than who was at that stream, or who was at the event right now. And I know for a fact that none of them could care any less about energy pots. Not a single one. When the questions are really, hey, are you ever going to thin down the actual banner NV pool? Because we have an extraordinary amount of garbage. Or, hey, where's all of this content that we're missing? Like the new Chamber of Arms. Where did that go?
Or
I don't know.
What's happening with units that were supposed to come, or upgrades that were supposed to come. Cough, cough, cater.
Where's Carlet?
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Yep, and like, so during the stream, and that's basically it, by the way, guys. There was also a whole bunch of game show type stuff where they did like I don't even remember. Yeah,
classic
rewarded.
Wasabi games, like every time.
Wasabi game, blindfolded, map running, they tossed ping pong. I don't know, it was a bunch of game stuff. It was cool. The players got all the rewards. We're going to be getting a bunch of rewards. I think it was like 45,000 lapis in total from the whole event, which is nice and all, but, you know, there's not really much to discuss about the game shows.
It's 45k over, like, what, like 3 months? So it's like...
Yeah, late August, whatever. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was the stream as a whole. Now, I will mention that they didn't really cover any of the stuff that we, at least I can only speak for myself, I guess, that I personally was really wanting to hear. Like, Dark Vision's Abyss was not even mentioned. Chamber of Arms was not even mentioned. The Princess Trial was not even mentioned. The skipped unit upgrades weren't mentioned. They didn't mention Carlet's Awakening. They didn't mention Medina's upgrades, Edge's crowns. Just, you know, all this stuff that I really thought would be in the Q&A section. At the very least, like, you know, we've heard your feedback. We're considering, like, if, you know, Edge's crowns were too powerful to give you. Stuff like that. They just ignored it. So what are your guys' thoughts of that? They're just ignoring some of these questions we've been having for the producers.
They straight up skipped the unit, too, and it's just...
Yeah, Cater. Just skipped entirely.
Just skipped entirely.
We'll see if they end up giving it later, but...
Yeah. Hopefully they do, but, like... It's an entire... It's not like she was like what do you call it? An NVA that's giving out for free, or like a upgrade for an existing NV unit. It was just straight up a new NV unit. I honestly don't understand why they didn't give that.
And so my concern with Cater specifically is that sets a very unnecessary and terrifying precedent for decent JP breakers not coming to global. So now do we have to worry about Vanille not coming?
Or
because
the Dragon Quest guy, Avon.
Well, I'm up in the air about the Dragon Quest anyway, but yeah, same idea. But if they start not letting have the actual JP units worth pulling in order to try to force us to pull global breakers.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great. If they're trying to draw this game out another 3 years minimum and convince people to pull for units from characters from games that they loved.
They said decades in the live stream, but
they did say decades beyond, and I can't even believe it because I'm almost worried about the end of this year.
But I honestly, I'm like, the question of them not bringing Cater because she's too good is so weird to me, because they finally have JP units that are actually good. You just need to make Glex units that are just better. I don't understand.
But then they have to put effort into balancing content. They don't want to do that.
I guess that's the trade-off for them. But we've seen the GL team make good units, even with existing good JP units coming. So I honestly don't understand.
Yeah, I agree. So overall, the whole stream as a whole, just what are your guys' closing thoughts? So Barry, what is your thoughts of the stream as a whole and the anniversary?
All right, so it's nice to see an in-person event again, even though, again, I couldn't end up making it. I thought that the way in which they revealed the new units is some of the best that they've done probably since the last time they did exactly this at the anniversary last year, when they showed us units that we wanted to see. So the units themselves are interesting. To me, this whole situation reads as a way of them trying to project their perception of what they want us to think is going on in the game, as almost as a means of distracting us from the problems and questions that we've been asking for nigh on 2.5 years now. So while the stream itself, it was fine. It was a good stream. It's nice that everybody involved with the stream seemed actually enthusiastic and wanted to be there, which is a far cry from what we've said in the past. And as an anniversary, it was fine and exciting enough. Good rewards, okay, fine. But it didn't do enough to discuss the actual state of the game in a way that players who are paying attention could get any satisfaction from.
Makes sense. And how about you, Pika? What are your thoughts of the stream and anniversary as a whole?
I think I agree with Barry here. I think the anniversary stream this time in a vacuum would have been great. We had lots of good rewards, and this time they actually mentioned a lot of the veteran rewards that some of the anniversaries just ignored until people demanded it. And we got to see the units that were voted on, and they looked like decent units. So the stream itself in the vacuum was great, but I don't know why they didn't touch on any of the larger issues that were underlying that's bubbling over the community for like a really long time now. People have been asking for the NV pool cut for so long, and it's already in a worse state than when the Rainbows got the pool cut. Mm-hmm. So it's just some of the issues that they needed to be touched on was not touched on, and it's just kind of like a worrying sign, to be honest, because this is like, I feel like an anniversary is one of those best times to earn some goodwill from the community, fix some issues, and then that gets the people to reinvigorate it and play another year potentially or more. But they didn't touch on any of the issues, so I think it's a little bit of a worrying sign from that for me.
Makes sense. Yep, my thoughts are pretty much the same thing as y'all's too. I thought the stream itself was amazing. High energy. Everybody was having a good time. It was really fun. The rewards are very good. I think they're better than usual. 45k lava seems higher than we usually get. That's amazing. Yep. 700 pulls, great, outstanding. More than that for veterans. That's all cool. The new units seem really good. Elena obviously seems very, very strong with the leader skill. The new unit, Richt, seems great. Got good animations. I think it looks great. I'm almost certainly going to be pulling for both of them. But that's amazing. People when they announced the unit, I saw the Discord chat like blew up. Everybody was so hyped. And that's great, but the problem is that like new unit hype wears off in a week, and then where are we going to be? And they, like exactly like I said, they didn't really address the underlying problems. The fact that they're just skipping content, cutting content, nerfing content, and just global just has so much less content or less quality content these days than the past, and that's why a lot of players are just getting burnt out and frustrated, myself included. And I was really, really hoping for the anniversary to be like, we are going to start doing Chamber of Vengeance again for global, something like that, something to like look forward to, other than these brand new units that are really cool. I'm super excited for them on Thursday. Absolutely, I'm gonna pull for them. But then next week's gonna come along. We're gonna get a filler banner week. The Clash of Wills will be over at that point, and it's like we're right back to where we started. And this didn't really fix anything with the anniversary. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it kind of just feels like one of those monthly.
Yep.
If you take out the rewards, it's just exactly like one of those monthly streams.
Yeah.
And unless this little carrot that they're dangling about this mystery collab that it's too early for them to tell us what it is enough to get people excited, but like at this point I don't care because they've given us no idea of any content coming where pulling new units will ever matter.
Yeah. And if anything, they've basically like. I used to have a lot of these excitements before when I saw a new unit like Elena, and I'll be like, "Wow, Elena's great. She must be usable for like 3 months. Top, like that'd be a great usage out of it." But nowadays, it feels like every new cow you have to pull the new unit to rank 1, and it just seems like I can't keep up the pace. So it just seems like I'm not particularly excited about the new unit anymore. It's just I feel like next month down the line we're gonna have, like you said, an 800% cow leader that's gonna be like, remember Elena, and it's just like Elena's just another one of those really underwhelming MVs in the pool that you will be pulling one day in the future and be really sad about.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there's just more to the anniversary they didn't reveal on the stream, and we'll have to see that soon. But again, thank you to both of you for joining me. It's been pretty fun to do this recap video. Normally Gert does the recap videos, but he was at the event. You actually, I saw him during the event. He came up and did like, one of the little Tony interviews. I was like, oh, that's Gert.
Yeah. That was pretty fun.
But all right, so I'll see you guys for more on Tuesday. I guess will be the news video. So see you then. Thanks again for joining.